Hello again! So we have covered the essays, self-introduction, and study plan. Now let's move on to the next part, which is admission interview with KYUNGSUNG University. So during the admission interview, you are evaluated. Totally, there are 100 points that you can get, and there are 4 categories on which you will be evaluated on. Number 1 is learning ability or major aptitude. This is worth 30 points maximum. And then number 2 is expression of intention. This is also a maximum 30 points. And then the third one is academic literacy and attitude. Totally, you can get a maximum of 20 points. And then the last one is language. This is also a maximum 20 points. So the first one, learning ability and major aptitude. This is how familiar you are with the major that you're picking. The university decide you have the ability to study further and complete your degree in this major. So for example, if you're picking global business administration, the university expects you to already know the general idea of the study that you pick. That means if you already know what business is about, or maybe if you already know about business, accounting, or finance, this all would be very helpful during the admission interview because you can get more points in that category. This is also a way of KYUNGSUNG University to tell if the student is really interested in picking this major because he wants to study it, or if the student is just picking it out of a random choice, which is connected to category number 2, expression of intention. Eagerness, the excitement, the hope of this applicant during the admission interview to get admission seat in KYUNGSUNG University. If a student just like, yeah, I'm just applying for here because better than no university, any university will do. This kind of things KYUNGSUNG University can tell. So you need to be able to prove your desire to study in KYUNGSUNG University. The third category is academic literacy and attitude. This is how you present yourself during the interview. For academic literacy, they want to see if you are literate enough, basically if you are knowledgeable enough, just the general academic intelligence that you have. And this can be seen through your attitude during the admission interview. So attitude means your gestures, your face expressions, your tone, your words and sentences of choices, and also your posture will play a great part in this. One example is sometimes the professor, they have thick accent, so students can't really understand, but when they ask the professors to repeat the question, they ask it like this: what? That's not a great way to ask the professor to repeat it. Instead, the student should have said, oh, sorry professor, I couldn't hear that, can you please repeat it? This is attitude, and by doing this, you are academically intelligent. And then the last one is language. This is your English skill in speaking and listening and comprehending. So your IELTS score can be really high, but when speaking during the interview, if your ability to speak is very low, then your score here would still be low, even though you have a very high IELTS score. They want to match your IELTS score, your essays, and then your actual ability when you meet face-to-face. From all these 4 categories, totally you can get 100 points, and usually they pick students who are above 60 points. So make sure you are ready for the evaluation categories. Now, how is the interview conducted? Normally they do face-to-face, so they go to your country and they do face-to-face interview, but because of the pandemic, all of the interviews has been done online through Zoom. No Skype interview anymore. By Zoom, you are given a link and you will be given the time, your actual interview time and your entrance time. Entrance time means the time that you can start clicking on the link in a waiting room, because when you get in, maybe other students are already doing the interview. So in the waiting room, you should just wait and stay online. Don't exit. Don't use other apps, just stay online and wait until the university staff comes back to you. During the admission interview, you won't be doing it alone. Sometimes you get one more or two more or three more other students doing it with you at the same time, and you will be interviewed by multiple professors at one time, and one of those professors will be the dean of the global department, which is Professor Kim Hak-son. He will be interviewing you with other professors from the major that you pick. So if you pick Global Business Administration, he will be interviewing you with other Global Business Administration professors. If you pick Global Hospitality Management, then it would be him and other professors from the hospitality department. The questions that they ask sometimes are different for each student, but when you enter the admission interview room, they will all have your documents. If you remember all of the required documents list that you already submitted online through, maybe you apply yourself or maybe through agency, these documents are submitted to the university, and then the university prints all of these documents, put it in a bundle, and then give to the professor. So when the professors interview you, they will always have your entire documents in their hands. I keep saying your essays matter because they look back to your essays and then they interview the applicants based on those essays that the applicants write. They will ask you to introduce yourself. Do not overthink it. You can just do it simply. Hi, my name is Gabrielle. I'm from Indonesia. I'm 27 years old and I'm applying for Global Business Administration. Nice to meet you. And basic questions would be based on your documents. It could be about your study plan. It could be about your self-introduction. If you mention you like Korean culture, they might ask you further about it. If you say you want to open your own business after you graduate, they might ask you more about it. So make sure that everything you write, you know exactly. So when they ask you, you can answer freely and honestly, and nothing will surprise you. They will also ask you about financial situations. A lot of students, they are expecting to be able to do part-time job right after they arrive in Korea. But to be honest, that's not common, because in order to be able to do part-time job, one, you need to be able to speak Korean, because you will need to speak Korean to your bosses, your employers, or customers. And secondly, you will need the time to adjust and adapt in your new life in Korea. The professors want to make sure that you know this, and therefore they will ask you about financial situation. So there's a possibility that you might not be able to work right away after you arrive here. And they want to make sure that your parents are able to support you if you cannot get jobs. If you cannot get a job, how will you support yourself? You need to make sure that you will be able to support yourself even though you don't get a job, because to come here as a student, studying will be your number one priority. So you should be able to show them, to prove to them that not having extra earning during at least your first semester in Korea wouldn't affect your studying at all. Also, they might ask you, because we have a lot of Muslim students, and Korea is not very friendly to Muslim students. It's much better now, but it might be hard finding halal food, or it could be hard during the fasting Ramadan month. It's not very harsh, but you might need to adjust more, and that they might ask you how you are planning to adjust that. They will also ask you how to manage if you are feeling homesick. Basically, they just want to see how you handle problems. Now, the things that you have to pay attention to during your admission interview. One is your internet connection. It has to be stable, it has to be good, it has to be clear. Make sure that you do it in the spot where the internet works well. No internet lagging, no video lagging. So pick your device well and pick the spot well. Secondly, your surroundings and your background. You need to do it in a home where it's quiet, where you can focus, where there's no one else in the room. Don't have something going on behind you, or even like mess. Think of this as a job interview. This is how you want to present yourself so you can get what you want, which in this case is an admission seat. And then your appearance, your outfits also play a big part. You want to be semi-formal. You want to be wearing shirt with collars, maybe tie, blazers, just very clean, neat, tidy, professional looking. And then I've mentioned this earlier, but this is actually important as well, is your attitude. If you cannot understand the question, always ask politely for them to repeat it. Now, how to prepare for the admission interview. Try to learn just a little bit about the major that you pick. make sure that you know what you're getting into. And also, I will conduct a trial interview with you. So before the actual admission interview, I will be inviting you. I will send you a Zoom link and we can try out the interview. You need to pretend that this is the actual interview so that I can see what's missing, and then I will give you feedbacks and what to care, what was the problem, so you can avoid those problems during the actual interview. Hopefully that answers your concerns or your questions about admission interview. Thank you. See you.